Good evening. Leading our news tonight. This morning, the Niue police responded to a motor vehicle accident. The accident involving a truck of the Agriculture Department went off the road at Namawi Hill. Details into the accident or the contributing factors could not be revealed, as Niue police say the investigation is still ongoing. 2 weeks, the Public Expenditure Committee has been meeting to discuss government's budget and meet with different departments to budget expectations and deliverables. The first introduction of the budget by Honourable Premier Toketalang in the House of Assembly recently for the 2012 to 2013 budget looked healthy, with many of the new initiatives of the transformation process included. It is expected the new budget will create more incentives and developments for the island. We will bring you more on this news story in our future news bulletins. Some of the world's new parliamentarian representatives were taught an important lesson last week at the Commonwealth Parliamentarian meeting in Samoa, and a reflection of what is required when they reach parliaments. One of Niue's new parliamentarians who became a government minister 1 year ago, Honourable Joan Viliamu, attended the meeting and came away with some valuable lessons, including requirements of the recruiting process.
It's mostly to do with the constitution of any country or members who are involved in parliamentary commitments in the way or where they're involved in. Yeah.
Now, compared to Niue's status in regards to the number of new politicians, especially if you're a woman, was there any discussions regarding that area in the, minorities?
Yes. There was a woman who came from United Kingdoms. She represented the United Nations women in parliamentary, and she did a presentation on being a woman representing the country in parliament and how to work together with others inside the parliament, which is very interesting and to know some of the things that we don't have here. Yeah, I guess there's no difficulties, but very interesting to know that most of the big countries who attended the meeting, they have the education, their background education is, they have high qualification from masters to professors who are members of parliament in their big countries and also in the Pacific. Whereas myself, I did mention on my presentation that I do not have any, like academically, I don't have any qualification at all to get into parliament, which is very interesting in comparison to a lot of Pacific Island or some of the Pacific Island people who got in with their qualification backgrounds that they have. Yeah.
The lesson, Minister Viliamu said, was taught by old hands at political know-how and is similar in all aspects of all governments around the world, but slightly different for Niue.
There's a space between bigger countries and us here in the Pacific. I think there's a gap in between, where bigger countries, they discuss and represent what they did. For instance, from South Africa, they talk about, because they have millions and millions of people in their country and how they work to cater for those people. Whereas here in the Pacific, it's more like our way of running our parliament is respect. We discussed a lot of it during the seminar and how we see it from our side in the Pacific and from the other big countries, that there is a gap in between that we need to bond together to know that what they do in big countries with the parliament and what we did in the Pacific too. Yeah. What we don't need anything here to upgrade what we have here, but to as from the knowledge that I know and what I pick up from the seminar that we held in Samoa, it's more like the way to run or to work together in the parliament in terms of decision making and just to work together with the people in the parliament. Yeah, I think it should open to everyone in parliament to share and to make the right decision in terms of when proposals come in and we need to discuss it with the government of the day. We also need to let know to the opposition that we have decided on this, even though sometimes we decide to say yes, but then we should say no, and then the opposition doesn't like it in a way of conflict between the opposition and the government of the day.
She said many of what she was taught last week will be shared with her new colleagues in Parliament. The seminar is an annual event arranged by the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association for its members throughout the Commonwealth, was with this year hosted by the Samoan Parliament. There was great community support for the Niue Health Department smoke-free campaign initiatives, despite delays to commemorations for World No Tobacco Day this year. Each year, World No Tobacco Day is celebrated on the 31st of May, with this year's theme, Tobacco Interference. The Public Health Division had a range of activities to tap into the creative ideas of community groups, from works of art on fabric to literary poems, visual videos and booths to gauge awareness on the effects of smoking. Last Friday, departments, communities and schools set up booths in support of the campaign that focused on the need to expose and counter the tobacco industry's bold and increasingly aggressive attempts to undermine global tobacco control efforts. The final judging for all activities will be held today before the distribution of prizes for this week. The materials and resources developed will be used by the department in its ongoing campaigns for tobacco control on the island. The famous Queen's Birthday weekend, Rally of the Rock, has continued to build momentum, with this year receiving the highest overseas entries to date. The rally this year was taken up by all visitors, with one exception to the men's third placing. For the open women's category, 14 entries registered. Only 3 local cyclists took the challenge this year. However, the visitors took the hat trick, with Andrea Livingston winning with a timing of 85 minutes and 19 seconds, followed by Lee Robertson in second with a timing of 94 minutes and 38 seconds, and Caroline McCarthy in third place with a time of 98 minutes and 4 seconds. The junior men's category was won by John Carmen with a timing of 79 minutes and 1 second, the fastest time overall. Second place went to John McGregor with 83 minutes and 4 seconds, and third place to Nutose Tahanga with 109 minutes. Only 4 entries registered, which had 3 locals competing against the visiting winner. The last category was a senior men's, with 14 registered and 2 locals taking the challenge. However, the competition was an all-visitor affair, with Tony Dodds winning with a time of 80 minutes and 51 seconds, followed by Ryan Locke with 81 minutes and 29 seconds, and Steve Newport with a timing of 88 minutes and 20 seconds, closing the winners in third place. The next cycling race, the Round the Rock, will take place tomorrow morning at 6:30 in the morning, starting at the Visitor Information Centre. Please, if you are out early on the road, look out for the competing cyclists on the road. Mutalo Marine Day has always been an event many look forward to, especially with the expecting scores of fish for buyers. However, this year reflected last year's story of rough seas and less competitors to the annual event. The main events of the canoe fishermen that usually spread across the Pacific Ocean in Uluwezi were nowhere to be seen as they travelled back down to launch off at the Namakulu ramp because of heavy seas. Though numbers were low, the morning proved a success for land traders who spent most of Sunday night cooking for pre-orders and an expected increase in visitor numbers to the event. Most of the traders that arrived early morning said they were happy with the turn of events, but especially with the sunny weather most were not expecting to receive. One of the elders said there were more variety of food this year, and most families encouraged their friends to visit the famous spot. Some of the brave took to the reef later on in the day to collect seashells and fish for the rest of the competition. And we did witness most of the buyers left with cars, loads of food, sweet treats, and fresh fish from the canoe fishermen. And that concludes our news bulletin for tonight. We do hope that you can join us again for our next news bulletin on Thursday.